Hi, I'm Michael Dangermond, and today I'm going to show you a workflow for how to produce thematic image layers in the new ArcGIS Image for ArcGIS Online. This is a hosted environment where you can publish image layers that can be consumed online. It says here on this story map that it's coming soon, but it's out now, and I had an opportunity to work with this a little bit, and so I can show you how to get started and produce some layers successfully in here. Now, what I want to make a map of today is this island and the soil types of this island. This is called Madeira, and this was discovered in 1419, so that's way before the discovery of the Americas, but these islands were uninhabited, and there were a lot of patterns that were established here, and then when the Americas were found later by the Europeans, they took a lot of these patterns from the settlement of these islands to the Americas. So I think it's an important place in history. Now, what we're looking at here are the soil classification, the international soil classification called World Reference Base, and that's part of the FAO. And so there are the soil types of the islands. Now when I click here, it gives me an opportunity to download a tile that cover just those islands, which is handy. And so I click here on download the layer, and it gives me a place where I can save the file. But as you can see, there's no feedback. It doesn't tell me what type of soil it is when I click on it. Furthermore, the legend doesn't appear next to the soil types. There's just sort of these blocks that you can hover over and you get the classes. So what we're going to do is put it in the hosted environment so we can serve it with a little bit more behind it. So this should have downloaded by now. So, and I know where it is. It's in my downloads folder. So I'm going to open ArcGIS Pro and begin by bringing it into ArcGIS Pro. So I'm going to start with a new map. Ooh. And clicked on something that it didn't like. And we have the new map here. That's good. And we can add data to it. We're going to add that what we want is from the downloads folder called out.tiff. And here it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see here, it comes in as a gray ramp, and that's because it can't tell that these are categories, so it just stretches the values between 0 and 20. But what this data is an index to the different soil types in the classification from 3 to 20. And value 0, that's just the background no data value. So first of all, let's get rid of that so we can serve it, and no data is no data. So we'll click on the Analysis tab and use Tools and use Copy Raster. And it's way down here at the bottom, Copy Raster. And we're going to take the input raster. Then we'll choose an output data set. We're going to make a TIFF file for that one as well. Let's put it here, and let's delete this. And we'll just say Madeira soils.tiff. Oh dear. Okay, hope it goes to the same place. Nope. And here, and let's call it Madeira soils.tiff. So we're going to copy from the tile we downloaded, and we're going to give we're going to tell it to ignore value 0 and furthermore make 0 the no data value. And we want an 8-bit unsigned pixel value, so we'll have integers from 0 to 255 and the TIFF format. We'll run it. And what do we have? We have values between 3 and 20, and that 0, the no data value, is gone. Now when I go to look at the attribute table, now see, Pro doesn't know what these are. There's no attributes on it because without any other information, all it sees is a range of values between 3 and 20, and so it's assuming it's sort of a continuous raster, but we know it's categorical. We're these weirdos that that make this type of raster. So what I'm going to do is build an attribute table on. The command is build raster attribute table on my TIFF, and it's going to put a companion file in there that will make an attribute table. Now I happen to know, I click here and it says attribute table. I don't know about any attribute table, so I'm going to remove it and add it back again. It's a little bit strange, but this way it will read it and say, okay, I know you got an attribute table in there now. See, check it out. Great. So what do we have? We have a value field and the count, the number of pixels in each of these fields. Look at this, only one of this and one of this. Interesting. Well, we'll deal with that. So first of all, let's add some fields. Oh, there's the multiple command. Let's just do one at a time. So what do we need to create a thematic image layer? So what we need, there's 6 fields that we want to have. We have value, count, and then we have one called class name. Now class name is what's going to be put in the legend, the different classes in the legend. Then we have fields for red, green, and blue. And the red, green, and blue together, that's going to determine the colors that you see on the in your map client that appear in the legend. It's going to be the colors that appear on the map. And then we can add other fields to it that will appear in pop-ups as well. So we're doing 3 things at once. We're getting the legend all neat. We're making the map colors what we want them to. And we're going to provide text for pop-ups. So when people click on it, it tells them a bit more about what they're looking at. So let's look at the field. Let's add the required fields. So class name, I told you about, and that's going to be a text field. Now, the reason I chose TIFF is a outline. The reason I chose TIFF is because it creates a DBF table alongside the TIFF. And there's some things you need to know about the DBF tables. It's a really old format. It's old as the hills. And there is a maximum limit on those test fields that is going to be 200, I think it's 255 characters wide, so you don't want to exceed that. But in this case, for the class name, we're just going to have 32 characters wide. And you follow me? So I'm going to add this field. Okay, so we have the class name field, and then we need to add the fields to define the color. So we have red. Now this can be a short or long integer. I'm going to use short because we just need values between 0 and 255. You don't need an alias for this one, but we probably should have put one for class name. But it doesn't really it doesn't make any difference. If that makes any sense in the legend. So let's create a field called red, one called green, and one called blue. Now I'm going to create this is a field called pop-up text, and this is what I want to appear in the pop-ups when people click on things. And I'm going to use that 255. I'm going to use 254 just in case. And we'll give a nice alias so it looks like real language here, even though this can be kind of computery. It's always nice to have this alias filled out. We'll add that too. So I'm looking at my cheat sheet here, and it's telling me these different class names. So value 3 is andisols, and we have calcisols for value 5. If I'm mispronouncing these things, tell me down in the comments. I'm from the United States, so I'm not totally familiar with these classes, which is a shame, really. There's only one pixel of feral cells. Luvisols. No, that is for value 18. See, I'm leading people astray already. Leptosols. And we have 225 of these, so last but not least, phaeozems. Okay, great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate the pop-ups just to be, oops, yeah, let's save the edits first. Always hit save. So we're going to populate the pop-up text here with what's in the class name field. Might as well just do that. This is an example anyway. Okay, everything as it should be. Now the ones with just one in it, I'm going to just make a class called other. So these will appear as other in the legend. And I think I'll do that with the leptosols as well, just so you get the idea. But when people click on other, they get this over here. It just neatens up the legend a little bit. All of the other will collapse as long as they have the same class name, red, green, and blue value, which we'll take care of. So I'm just going to pick like a medium gray for these. So for red, I'm going to calculate that as 128, and we'll do that for green and blue as well. So it'll be super boring gray. Whoa, are we done? Oh my goodness. What happened? Oh, it's still there. I don't know. Something just leaped in front of me. I thought we were having a problem. Okay, so we have these other colors to define. Now, what I can do is just stop the film and fill these in. Or we can just do random colors for fun. What I have here is a palette that I can use and grab colors from this. You can see the RGB values in the upper left. So when I choose colors for categorical rasters, it's nice to spend some time with that, but in this case I'm going to do what a computer person would do, and that's just put numbers in there. So this is not best practices in terms of good art. And so we're going to have totally random colors. I can't wait to see what happens though with these colors. Okay, well, let's clear it here and save our edits. Is there a save button here? Hope so. Maybe I'll just save the project and that will save it. And so we have our table all filled out. We have a value which matches every value in the raster. What comes in should have something in the table. We have the count field, which is required but not used. It's going to be handy for people later if they want to know the relative strength of these different soil types on the Madeira archipelago. And we have 4 major soil types and one called Other. The red, green, and blue values are all the same, so it will collapse in the legend. And in the pop-up text, when you click on Other, then you will see the soil type in there. Okay, I think we are done working in ArcGIS Pro. So let's upload this to ArcGIS Image for ArcGIS Online. So I'm all signed in and I create a new item. It's going to be an imagery layer. Now this first stop along the way that it asks you, do you want a tiled imagery layer and dynamic? Most of the time you're going to want the tiled imagery layer. It's cheaper for you. It streams the pixel values to the client. You can use it in analysis. Someone can do analysis using your layer in ArcGIS Pro. Now, if you want to do any analysis on the server side, then you're going to want to do the dynamic imagery layer. You can actually create both here, but I'm going to create the tiled imagery layer. That's more practical. Draws faster too. Now here are the choices. If I had some other images to go with this, let's say I have a bunch of tiles that I want to serve together, I'm going to want to choose one mosaic image. In that case, you're going to want an attribute table that's all queued up, like I showed you, but the values have to match every value in every tile that you have. So you can't just take one image, build the attribute table out from it. You got to build a table more or less from scratch. You got to make sure every value's in there, and it can be a separate name and everything. But when you use the one image method, the DBF table, which we didn't really look at behind the scenes, but here it is. Yeah, so there's all kinds of files in here. There's madeirasoils.tif, but then this vat.dbf, so that's ArcGIS Pro created that and stored all the values we worked with that way. And let's click on Next. Now, what we're going to do first is configure the properties. This is a thematic image service. It defaults to generic, so we're going to want to choose thematic here. Now it's real simple because we're doing one image here, but if we were doing a mosaicked image with several tiles that we're putting in, then what we're going to want to do, there's additional tabs here, and one of them defines the DBF table that you want to use. So it gives you an opportunity to upload a table along from that tab along with all of the rest of the data that you're putting up. But in this case, we're just going to choose thematic, hit apply here, and then we're going to drag and drop some imagery. I'm going to click browse, and so we were in this folder, and here, right, and I'm going to view this as a list. There, that's better. So I'm going to choose all of these that say Madeira soils, just so I can make sure that the DBF is included, and click OK. It's going to upload all of these. This should just take a second, and then we can click Next. We can, here's the name of our service. I'm going to just say test here for now. You can always modify that later at the content item page, and we'll say soil map of Madeira, capitalize. And we'll put it in my content folder, or wherever folder you like. Uploading the images, this shouldn't take long. I'm using a small sample this time. It's good if you're just starting out and learning, to start with something small, and then you get through the workflow, and then you can work on bigger things from that once you master that. We are almost ready. We can view the item details now, so let's do that, shall we? And it's going to probably still say it's creating the service here, and when it's done, this animation will stop. And it has here where I said soil map of Madeira Archipelago, and here is where the tags are that I put in there. I'm going to want to put some other ones here so other people can find it, that kind of thing. And let's open it in Map Viewer Classic. And look at that, it goes right to the islands. You can see my random colors coming up here in various shades of navy. And we'll look at this. Oh, look at that. We have the 4 classes. We have other. So it collapsed those different categories into other. Then in here we can enable the pop-up. We can configure it. That will configure and enable it. And we can say FAO soil class. Actually, it's called the World Resource Base. This is, I work on the Living Atlas team, and this is something that I'd like to put in the Living Atlas in the coming year, is a world resource base and some of the global soil layers from soilgrids.org. So let me know in the comments if this is something that you would like to see. Now, description from one field, I like to put custom attribute display, custom everything. And we'll put, instead of the pixel value, we'll put up the pop-up text. And hit OK. Does this work? Canvasols. Now look, this is where all these other are, and it says leptosols. It doesn't say other in there. Isn't that cool? Luvisols, leptosols. Awesome. This is just what I wanted. So we have other in the legend, and we have the pop-up text coming in the pop-ups. See how nice it is to have a legend, the colors you want, even though these are more random, more or less. And we have the we have information in the pop-ups to satisfy people's curiosity. Thank you so much for coming with me today, and I hope this is a big help in showing you how to work with this new system. I know I've been enjoying working with it myself. It's so much faster than the enterprise environment. There's, not all of it's there yet, but it's awfully nice to be able to turn something around so quickly and have it so people can use it around the world right away. Thanks for coming.